I saw the first signs of fall. The leaves are starting to yellow. They're beginning to fall off the trees and lay across the grass. There was even a leaf blowing in the breeze. So naturally, it was time to run inside, get to my bookshelves, and start picking all of my fall favorites to let you guys know what you should be reading this fall season. Hi guys, coming at you with a fall recommendations video. These are not TBR books for me. These are all books that I have actually read and enjoyed and I think would be a perfect fall read. Grab yourself a cup of cider. Let's see if I can help you find some really good fall books. I will break these down into categories, so if you're not interested in like fantasy, for example, you're like a crazy person who doesn't read fantasy, just kidding. We love you. But if you aren't interested in a certain category, I will put a timestamp to skip that category and get to the next one. Okay, let's get into the books. First up, I'm going to talk about fantasy because I am your fantasy, romantasy, and romance girly. I know everyone is here for thrillers in this spooky season, and I do have some that I'm going to include in this video, but we're going to start off with some fantasy. First, Belladonna and Foxglove. I am so impressed by how much I loved these books. I almost didn't even read them when Belladonna first came out. I didn't think I'd be interested at all, and then I read it and I loved it, and I just finished Foxglove and it was even better. The third book, Wisteria, also just came out. These are giving gothic vibes, romantasy. One of the main characters is Death, but it's not done in this like horror type of a way. It's done in a very romantic way. It also gives me very much so a cozy mystery element. Both of these books are trying to solve a murder. They literally have every vibe you'd be looking for in a fall book. I cannot recommend these enough. Another series that I don't hear enough people talking about is Crave. I have finished Crave and the second book, Crush. I can't even remember how many books are in this series, but there's quite a few, and they're pretty chunky, but they read very fast. They are technically YA, but the reason why I think these are perfect for fall is because you have vampires, you have werewolves, you have fairies, like you have all these mythical creatures coming together at a school very much like Hogwarts. You have page-turning romance, a love triangle. I have enjoyed these books. I don't care that they're YA. I don't care that they're not like a brand new series. I really need to read the third book, but if you haven't started this series and you love all of those vibes that I mentioned, do not sleep on this series. Which of course leads me into the absolute necessity of mentioning Twilight. There will never be a fall video that I don't encourage you to read Twilight. If I had endless amounts of time, I would reread Twilight every single year. This is the OG of all fall books. The OG, guys, right here. If you don't like Twilight, don't come at me. Listen, I know it's old. I know you're like, why on earth is this girl mentioning Twilight right now? Because it'll never get old. It just won't, okay? And the fall is the Twilight months. So if you've never read this series, now is your time. If you have read them and loved them, let's be best friends. Vampires, werewolves, love. Say less. A 2024 fantasy release that I actually just finished and is so perfect for fall. That is Heartless Hunter. I loved this book. It is a witch versus witch hunter, fake dating, trying to like kind of manipulate the other person. You've got magic. You have seriously such a good book right here, and I highly recommend. There are some triggers, like if you're not into witchy books, they do cast spells in this. It wasn't too much for my taste, but if you like steer clear of that completely, then don't read this. But otherwise, if you haven't read this one yet, it is a top book of 2024 for not just me, but the majority. Another slightly older series, but worth mentioning because again, if you've never picked up this series or you have heard about it a million times and just need that last nudge, then you must read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. The vibes in this one are so, I don't want to say gothic, like what is the word I'm looking for? I think it's a location thing for me in these books that scream fall. I just picture this like gloomy rundown city and they're just just doing their best to kind of steal from the rich and give to the poor type of vibes. It does follow the Shadow and Bone series, so like if you haven't read that series yet, I do recommend you read it first, but this can stand alone. Even the covers just give me all of those fall feelings. Just imagine like heists with like the coolest friend group ever, plus magic system also going on in this world, and that is these books. Another vampire book, because vampires are for the season and I am a vampire girly. So here's another recommendation, Serpent and the Wings of Night. The second one is already out and the third one comes out in November, but this is going to be for you who love romantasy, you love like high stakes. They have like a competition kind of reminiscent of Hunger Games happening in this story, but the romantasy is so good in this one. There's so many other subplots going on that are very interesting, and I can't say like much more without spoiling it, but if you love the vampires and romantasy and like more of an adult content type of book, this is definitely not YA, but if those are your type of a thing, you must try this book. A Dawn of Onyx, another romantasy that I feel like is perfect for fall. Part of it is because of the cover, but the other reason why I feel like this one's perfect for fall is you've also got some level of mythical creature going on, and I'm a big settings person, is how I determine if I feel like a book fits a certain season, and the setting in this one feels like this very dark, mysterious castle, and for a good portion of it, our girl is in prison by who she thinks is super evil, but the romance occurs, and I'm just here for that type of a plot like any day. Next category, let's talk about the one that I know most people are interested in this season, and that is thrillers. Fall screams like thriller and spooky season for a lot of people. I don't find a lot of them that I really enjoy, and there's also always got to be this balance of like I want to be shocked and I want to be fully immersed in the story, but I also don't want to be like scared out my mind. And I think that for me, thrillers have a lot of triggers to them. That is why I'm very hesitant with that genre. However, when I find a good thriller, it is a good feeling. Like I really do love a good thriller, and they stick with me and they become like a favorite book, but they're hard for me to find. One of my favorite thrillers is Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I have read a few Ruth Ware books and I think that they're all really good, but Turn of the Key just really stood out to me. The audiobook was amazing and just so well done, and the story just had me quite literally on the edge of my seat. Like I could not stop listening to that book, and because of how like creeped out I felt and mysterious, like you don't know if you're dealing with a ghost or a murderer. Because of those vibes, I feel like it's a perfect fall book. It's about this girl who goes and she works as a nanny in this home, and gosh, I literally feel like there's not a whole lot I could say that's not going to be spoilery, but if you like the nanny vibes with a lot of mystery to it, this is a perfect book for you. Another thriller that I read that really stood out to me and I feel like would be so perfect for the fall season because it's a ghost story is Hidden Pictures. In this book, you even get really creepy drawings, because ironically, maybe there's a thing for me here. This is another nanny story where this girl gets hired to work as a nanny and this kid is drawing like these creepy pictures, and again, I just remember reading this one and feeling creeped out but not scared out my mind, but also so incredibly gripped. It was such a fast-paced, couldn't turn the pages fast enough thriller for me. I wouldn't think that I'm like a ghost story type of a fan, but this one was very well done and I highly recommend for the fall season. If you want more of like the YA thriller vibes, so you want less triggers and something that's probably even more fast-paced, easy to read, then I definitely recommend the queens of YA thrillers, Karen McManus and Holly Jackson. I haven't read a book from either one of them that I did not enjoy. I think that they've all been really good. They deal with typically that high school age, so there might be some frustration with like the choices these kids are making, but they give 90s horror movie vibes, and because like they've both written quite a few books, you have options. So truly like just read the synopses and trust that these are very good authors for this genre, and just pick one that sounds good to you and it's probably going to be pretty decent. And the last author that I'm going to recommend for this category is Ted Dekker. His books will make you so creeped out and keep you on the edge of your seat, but they always come back to a really cool message and like meaningful message. I'm pretty sure he's classified as a Christian thriller author. However, I don't feel like the faith content is strong or like in your face. I just like him because I know I can read his stuff and not feel concerned about certain triggers that I don't really want to read. So if you're looking for that where it's gonna give you like all the thriller vibes but be limited on the triggers, but you don't like YA, Ted Dekker is a great place to start. One of my favorites from him is 3. It's crazy. You should try that one out. And kind of on the subtopic of thrillers, some cozy mysteries that I would recommend during the fall season. I am not like your cozy mystery girly. However, I have read a few that I think are perfect for fall. Maybe you're not like a thriller person, but you do love a good mystery. Cozy mystery might be your perfect genre because they're not gonna have a bunch of triggers to them. They're much more, I don't know, just like cozy. It's a good old-fashioned whodunit. And so the first one I would recommend for this season is Juniper Bean Resorts to Murder. The cover itself, I mean, come on, tell me that's not fall. This one was extra special to me because the romance in it was also so stinking cute. That doesn't happen a lot in cozies. Like most of them have a romance plot to them, but it's very minimal. This one was like half romance. So for me, it was like a perfect cozy because I love and I love a good love story. The fact that this had like a really good whodunit murder mystery plus the romance plus felt like a rom-com. Like I laughed so much reading this book. All of that to say, this book is great. Another cozy that I have lent out right now actually is Death in Castle Dark. This was my very first cozy mystery I ever read and it did not disappoint. I really enjoyed this one. It is perfect for fall because you have the entire story taking place at a castle, but like picture like a gothic mysterious type of castle, because what they're actually doing here is putting on a play. It's like a murder mystery dinner theater, and so our whole cast is a bunch of actors and actresses. Someone like actually dies when they're putting on a show of someone dying, and then of course you have all these people in this castle and you know one of them is the murderer. It just worked. I thought that it was so good and just a perfect atmospheric type of fall cozy. And then another cozy mystery that is literally ideal for fall is In the Company of Witches. Imagine Hocus Pocus, witchy vibes meets Gilmore Girls. That is this book. The cast of characters and the location is really what did it for me in this one. I didn't find like the murder mystery to be the drawing element here. So if you do want something that is more like Gilmore Girls vibes, a really great cast of characters, then this is the cozy for you. And the last category is of course romance. I have a few good ones that are personal, like all-time favorites of mine that just so happen, in my opinion, to fit the bill for those fall vibes. One of those is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This one goes through a lot of different seasons. It takes place out in Colorado, so this girl moves out there after suffering some loss. She moves onto the property of a single grumpy dad, and she is like sunshine in human form, and she is living in like the apartment above their garage. It's a very slow burn, character driven romance. Like, hear me when I say this is a character driven story, but I loved it. I loved the characters. I loved the setting in Colorado with this one, and that is why I think it's great for fall, because you really are immersed in the setting. I mean, she's going hiking, she's commenting on the weather, so it's not just fall that's taking place while she's there, but you are very immersed in it. Plus the cover being orange, I do kind of pick my fall books also based on the entire aesthetic of a cover, and this one just tells me leaves are falling. Another really cute fall romance is The Ex-Hex and The Kiss Curse. I'm gonna say it again, guys. If you don't like witchy, you will not like these because they are doing some curses. However, it's not dark, it's very lighthearted. These are way more driven on the romance, but they give you all of the fall feels, because they're going to like the Halloween festivals and talking about fall. Of all of the romance that I'm going to talk about, these are ones that definitely put you in fall. So if that's what you want and you don't mind some witchy talk, then these are perfect for you. I will also mention though, they do have some open door scenes in them. They're not like extreme, and it's not like every other chapter. They probably just have like 1 or 2 each. Another vibe for me for the fall season is like that back to school feeling. Anything academic that they're in school, specifically college. One of my favorite college romance books. This cover doesn't look fall. You can read this any time of year, but the entire book starts off with like the back to school talk and content, and that is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This is classified as a sports romance, but guys, when I tell you there's so much more to this book shocked me. I feel like it was a very unique storyline, like a friends to lovers, brother's best friend, heartbreak to then finding love. Like, it just gave me a lot of the different things that I love about a romance. Again, this does have some slight open door scenes in it, so you have been warned, but if you want that like back to school vibe for the fall season, college romance, this is where it's at. And of course, I have to say, the Sweater Weather series. I'm pretty sure that there's 7 books in this series. I read 3 of them last year, so I will pick up on book 4 for this season. These are going to be for those of you who want really good fall romance, but you don't want any smut. You want a good, clean, closed door romance that's more like a sweet love story rom-com, but all the fall vibes. These are for you. This series is so cute. Every single one of them made me giddy, made me smile. I devoured these last fall and can't wait to continue with this series, and I truly like cannot recommend them enough. They all have a different cast of characters. They're each written by a different author. It was like a group of authors that came and collabed together on this project to come out with like this whole fall series called the Sweater Weather series, and I'm pretty sure that they are all on Kindle Unlimited. That is a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching. Even though my fall TBR is literally overflowing, I still always make room for more. So let me know in the comments below what some of your top fall recommendations are. I hope that your books are amazing this fall. I'll see you in the next video.